Hey guys, it's Meredith with Pop Vintage and Home. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thanks for joining me today. I have two junk journals to flip through with you today. They are both cinch bound journals. And I made them because I think I might try to start selling junk journals at craft fairs starting in the fall. So I am starting to build up an inventory of junk journals I can sell, starting with this one and this little one. And naturally I forgot to bring my ruler to give you the measurements. But this one, I just finished working on it last night, so I'm more familiar with the measurements of this one. The cover itself is about 4.5 inches wide by 6.5 inches high, and the pages on the inside are mostly 4 by 6. So we'll flip through this one second. We'll start with this one. This book I picked up at an estate sale last fall. It's an old book. The copyright is 1926. It was a little children's storybook, as you can see. It's adorable. And this one, let's see. This one is not quite as tall, so maybe it's 5.5 inches. Maybe it's 6 inches high by, let's see, about four inches wide, so a little bit smaller than the other one. As I mentioned, it's cinch bound, and this is it's not a 3/4 inch spine. It's bigger than a 1/2 inch, somewhere between a 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. I'm not very good with the details tonight. You can see I made some junk journal jewelry for the spine, and got lots of fun things happening here on this edge of the journal. I've got some pom-pom trim. I've got some altered paper clips here and here with more beads. And this journal turned into a little bit of a gator mouth. I guess I should have chosen a bigger cinch binding wire than what I had. So when I made this journal, I applied that lesson and used a bigger coil, because once I started embellishing the pages, so I bound the book before I started embellishing pages. And at that point, everything fit nicely. The opening wasn't bulging, but once I started embellishing the pages and adding ephemera, it started growing. But that's okay. That's how we like our junk journals, right? So let's open it up and start flipping through. I did not want to cover the inside cover page because, again, it had the copyright date on it, and it also had the original price tag from Montgomery Ward. It was just $0.25. Here's the title page. I wanted to keep the title page. The title page has a beautiful illustration on the other side. And I've got ledger page here. This is a paper placemat. I picked this up at a thrift store in Montana 2 summers ago. This is from a teacher's grade book. I got a bunch, about 5 teacher's grade books from an estate sale that I went to just a couple of weeks ago. So it's a little fold out with writing space, and then you have the names of all the kids here, and then on this side, some of the grades. Opposite the grades, I thought it'd be fun to have a little math flashcard and a page from a children's storybook. Kool-Aid dyed paper. This was from a diary that I picked up at the same estate sale where I got this book. And I can't remember when this was published, but you can tell by the print that it's pretty old, probably originating from roughly the same time that this book was published. This is just a fun little vintage magazine ad. The other side of the magazine ad. This is a page from a Reader's Digest book. This is a cardstock pocket from a pack of cardstock, and I stuffed it with the Monopoly money. And the coin envelope ephemera, this is something I made a while ago. And there's our little altered paper clip. I tucked a tag on this side. I received this tag in Happy Mail. I've got pink note paper. This is just an index card, and I put some, I glued a scrap of fabric to it. This is some neat old stationery that I picked up at the same estate sale where I got the book. This is some graph paper. It's very thin, very translucent. I got this at my local thrift store. This is from one of those golden guides to wildflowers. Little recipe card, a vintage playing card, a sheet from a Jeopardy card game, a little envelope. This is a vintage envelope from a stationery kit. And tucked inside the envelope, I've got some Monopoly and Milton Bradley money and a little recipe card for chocolate drop cookies. I just glued some fabric scraps to embellish the envelope. Notebook paper, bright orange copy paper. Matching the bright orange copy paper is a vintage ad. And this is from a book of shorthand, Griggs Shorthand. This is a, what do you call these things? It's like an index card, but for a, one of those boxes that holds index cards. And it has the days in a month on it. And then I just tucked inside some ephemera about a bulldog. This was from a book about dogs. And then I just cut this out of the children's dictionary. You can tell I'm kind of going with a children's education theme, and I just took some bakery string to embellish this paper clip. Simple embellished paper clip. So this is the other part of the paper placemat you saw at the beginning. Vintage magazine ephemera, another vintage playing card. This is from Pad of Paper I picked up at an estate sale a couple weeks ago. Vintage wallpaper, again from the same estate sale where I got this book. More of the graph paper. Vintage stationery from a recent estate sale haul. Another children's reader page. This is like the old math paper we used to use in school, and I just stapled 2 tickets to it. The yellow ticket I got from Danielle at 11 Dancing Dandelions in Happy Mail. I love, love, love these tickets, the bright yellow tickets with the 25 cents. And I just embellished the back of this paper with some of my homemade washi. This is more of the paper from the grade book with the rest of the grades. Here's just some turquoise blue cardstock embellished with a little fabric tab. I think Carrie the Paper Monkey sent me this fabric in Happy Mail. I love it. It feels so good to touch. This was from a Learn to Crochet magazine. Piece of legal paper. These are really fun flashcards, again, picked up at the same estate sale where I got this book. Another little vintage stationery envelope, and what did I tuck in here? I don't know, just some random bit of ephemera, you know, from an estate sale. Oh yeah, I remember I put in some neat little paper doll clothing in here. In that envelope. Oh, I forgot I put this little, I cut this out of a children's book and pasted it here. More vintage ledger paper, a vintage Girl Scout ad. This is just yellow copy paper with an altered paper clip holding some Uno cards, and the whale tail comes from Carrie the Paper Monkey. Here is another page from this book, an illustration, and I put the fun pom-pom trim on it. Notebook paper. This is from a vintage magazine. It's Little Lulu. More of the orange copy paper. These are neat. This is an old post office record. I got it last fall at my local vintage market days. I got a bunch of them. Very neat, very different. And we've got more of the graph paper. This wonderful lady from an old ad. Beautiful piece of plaid cardstock. Another little index card. This is typewriter paper. Another little vintage playing card. And last but almost, this is just plain white vintage stationery, and this is from a manila envelope, or excuse me, a manila file folder. And then I guess I've done nothing on the back here. I think I'm gonna need to fix that. I think I'm gonna need to put a pocket or something here because it just looks very bare and unfinished. So I'll have to give that some thought. So that is journal number 1. And here's journal number 2. As you can see, this is made from a vintage little Junior Elf book. I love these Junior Elf books. This one I picked up at an estate sale this past weekend. I have the haul video from this estate sale. I'll try and remember to link to it in the description box. The inside cover papers were scribbled with crayon, so I had to cover them up. I covered them up with some cardstock, the big polka dots, something that looked kind of childlike. And I made pockets out of vintage wallpaper. And I just put in 2 things that this I received in Happy Mail. This is from Danielle at 11 Dancing Dandelions. It's so adorable. And in keeping with the theme of baby animals, I just have the little mouse. And here the little kitten on this playing card. And I either got this in Happy Mail from Meg at Chasing Retro, or I got it from her Etsy shop. I just can't remember. So here's that wonderful ledger paper, and I embellished it with, this is just an image from a magazine, and I used a paper punch that cuts stuff out in the shape of a postage stamp. That's an idea I got from Meg at Chasing Retro. And on the inside, I have another image punched out postage stamp size. It's of China doll head. Okay, this is one of the beautiful illustrations from the Baby Animals book. Another vintage flashcard. This is just some pretty paper I picked up at a yard sale a couple years ago. This is from an old home improvement book from the 1940s. Index card, vintage envelope, and in here I've just got a scrap of vintage wrapping paper and some Monopoly money. My ephemera for stuffing into envelopes and pockets and stuff. I have a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of the same stuff. So I definitely need to expand my ephemera repertoire, because I found when I was trying to fill these journals up with ephemera, I just didn't have like a lot of, I don't know, I just didn't have a lot to choose from. Yeah, so one of my goals for this upcoming estate sale season is gonna be to find more cool ephemera. I've got plenty of playing cards, like I'm good on those. I'm good on guest checks and things like that. I don't know, but just people find all kinds of neat things. I think, you know what I need to do? I just need to make more small journaling cards that I can use as ephemera from all of the vintage magazines and things that I have. That's what I need to do. Anyhow, so we've got the vintage wallpaper here, notebook paper, and we've got an altered paper clip, junk journal jewelry here. Let me pick this up. This is from a children's reader, and I just sewed a really pretty piece of vintage lace on it. Another illustration from the storybook. This is from Danielle, from the wonderful happy mail she sent me. I think it was last month. It's just adorable little stationery with a super cute teddy bear on the bottom. Oh, so cute. Or she. Maybe it's a she bear. This is vintage wrapping paper. This is the legal paper, and I just added a little vintage ribbon as a tag. Sewed that on. This I picked up at an estate sale this weekend. This is the kind of like random ephemera I need. This was for keeping a record of different photographic prints. There's a beautiful thick piece of cardstock. I just embellished it with some washi tape that I got at Michael's. Adorable little vintage playing card. This was from a notepad. And again, most of the stuff, if I didn't receive it in Happy Mail, pretty much all of it, I would say probably 95% of the stuff in these journals was sourced from estate sales. We have pretty good estate sales in my area, which is the Northeast. So this is vintage stationery, and I just embellished it with this beautiful piece of pink satin ribbon. And to cover up where I glued it down with Fabri-Tac, I covered it up with a little heart punch. I should do the same for that side. I haven't done that. This is just embellished paper with a botanical print. This is from the book we just saw. Another one of the famous people flashcards. Ledger paper again with the stamps. I love this lady. And who do I have on the inside? This sweet little girl. Okay, now I've got a paint chip, this paper, and on the back, I just embellished it with a little punch. This notebook paper, I embellished it with the heart punches. This was from a vintage book on camping. I made a little fabric cluster to embellish the bottom of this page. Here's another wallpaper page, and I just embellished it with some gold rickrack. This is school writing paper, vintage school writing paper. I just embellished it with some paper scraps. Coffee dyed paper, embellished with some paper scraps on both sides. Wrapping paper. This was a score sheet from a careers game, and it was a score sheet from the careers game that I played as a kid. I think this was my mom's handwriting though. This cute little page came from a vintage greeting card, the little kittens. They've knocked over the vase. And this is more vintage stationery with one of Carrie's whale tails, botanical paper, and this is from a paper pad, and I just made a little tuck spot. I tucked a Monopoly railroad card in there and just a little note sheet. And on the back, I did a belly band. I never remembered to do belly bands, but this time I did, and I just tucked a score sheet from the Art Linkletter People Are Funny game. Another Carrie the Paper Monkey whale tail. And I embellished this paper clip with some baby rickrack and ribbon. It is attached to this index card. Here's that nice thick cardstock again, embellished with my fabric washi on both sides. Vintage stationery. And the last page is this envelope, and I've got the board game money, and this receipt, and this phone message sheet. And let's see, on the back inside cover, here's the back inside cover. I added this little bit of trim here because I didn't properly align this piece of cardstock here and there. So there was some exposed cardboard here that I needed to cover up. So ends like the beginning with a wallpaper pocket. And this is some of my homemade washi with a scrap I made with a scrap of wallpaper. So you can just peel off the back and put it wherever you want. And we've got a Monopoly property and just a scrap of Mozart music paper. So those are my two journals. And I'm gonna try and sell them in the fall. We'll see. Let me know if you'd buy it. I think it's cute. I like it a lot. I'm happy with it. Yeah, so I don't know. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know if you like the journals, and I guess that's it. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.